You're listening to the Comic Crusaders Podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more. Wepa, salute everyone. Welcome to a brand new Comic Crusaders podcast. I'm your boy Al Mega in the building, and today we got an amazing creator here today. I mean, homie has been places. My brother here has worked for 2000 AD, DC Comics, Vertigo, and right now he's even doing something amazing in Dark Horse Comics with another legendary creator, Mike Mignola. This book is fire. It is out in stores now. The first issue, all right, just came out, and it's called The Sword of Hyperborea. Oh man, and this is book right here. I have the co-writer of this fantastic story that's part of that B.P.R.D universe, the one and only Mr. Rob Williams. Hey, what up, kiddo? How you doing?
I'm good. I've never had such a big build-up my entire life. I feel like I've got to live up to now.
I feel like a wrestler, right? You're ready to start like rocking the ropes like Ultimate Warrior. Hey,
that's what I do of a Monday evening. Yeah.
I love it, brother. Thank you so much. I know it's late for you. Folks, he hasn't said yet where he's from. I know it's late for him. So tell us where you at right now.
I'm in Portishead, just outside Bristol in the United Kingdom. So it is very late. But
it's 5 hours ahead of me.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's daddy hours. So daddy hours for him translate.
Daddy hours. Yeah, I haven't got a drink in my hand, so yeah, that happens the moment I finish this.
Cheers, you and me both, my brother. There you go. So let's talk a little bit about yourself. So, all right. So, were you born and raised, and still to this day have resided in the same community?
No, I was born in South Wales, which is only about an hour and a half, an hour or so from here. I was sort of raised in South Wales, and then went to live in a place called Bristol, and I've been here about 25 years. So,
damn! So what was it about Bristol that made you really plant your feet there?
I started dating a girl who was living. Down in a place called Southampton, and then I was living in a place called Cardiff. I was living in a place called Splot in Cardiff, which is a great name.
Splot. What a name! I got to see this in the comic book one day.
I know, it's great. SPLOTT, right? It's a great name. So basically, we kind of said, well, we were going to move in together, so we said we'll find halfway on the map, and it was Bristol.
Oh, look at you! So you find your queen. Is that the same queen you with to this day, or no?
It is my queen. I will call her my queen when I see her in about 5-10 minutes or whatever.
Oh, there you go, man. You know how many points you're gonna score for that? It's okay, baby. Keep doing your podcast. No worries, King. You're gonna role play tonight. Daddy won't be tired no more. Let me tell you. All right. So talk about you growing up then. How was the pop culture, community, you growing up, and what was your first love, and who introduced you to that? If it was anyone.
Yeah, no, I always remember just loving comics when I was a kid, and I'm not entirely sure. I mean, my parents, I guess my mum sort of bought me them, and then I just got hooked.
Always mom. Love mom.
Yeah, and it was kind of I mean, it was. I'd read everything. Like you'd get DC comics, you get Marvel comics, but you wouldn't get them very often because apparently this is a cool story. They used to bring them over as ballast on ships across the Atlantic, right? And they used to use. So basically, what they would do when the ships would come over, they'd give them to news agents to sell. So, but as a result, we never got every issue. So you would get an issue of Justice League, or you'd get an issue of Spider-Man, this killer cliffhanger, and you go, I've got to know what happens next month. And then we would never get the next issue.
I'm so sorry. You were tortured as a kid. That is comic book torture to the core.
Yeah, but it taught me sort of the power of these what an amazing cliffhanger can do to you. It was like, I really want to know what happens next issue. But then I read British comics like 2000 AD and Judge Dredd and things like that. And,
was that the first 2000 AD character you fell in love with, or because I know 2000 AD has a very varied universe of characters.
Yeah, no, it probably was. I mean that and ABC Warriors, which are a bunch.
Oh, nice one, nice.
Yeah,
one.
I mean those are the ones that really stuck. And then I sort of like, as I grew up, I never thought you could write for comics because I just didn't think it was possible. Because growing up in South Wales, right, people who wrote for comics were Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, and they lived in New York City, and it was a million miles away from where.
In your mind, that's a New York American thing.
Absolutely right. You can't do it if no one where I'm from does that because no one ever has, right?
Yeah, but then enter Pat Mills, homie. I love Pat, man, because he's the godfather of independent comics that helped bring 2000 AD to the forefront, man.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, and then so I trained to be a journalist, and I was working as a freelance journalist, and I wrote one.
Journalist. So wait. So how did this come about then? So you're going to school, and is that something you just kind of keyed into? I want to do. So who are your heroes in journalism that you kind of keyed into?
I don't know about heroes in journalism. I mean, you look at people like I don't know about. I don't think I had any heroes in journalism. It was just. Okay. I just kind of
that curiosity in you.
I wrote for I wanted to write. It was the only thing I was any good at, and I thought, well, I'm going to write for magazines, and I did that for several years.
Wow!
Ended up writing for magazines like GQ.
What was your first one?
Oh, my first one. God, what was my first one?
Yeah. What popped that cherry, man? The Rod Williams writing cherry. What was it?
I don't know if it was my first one, but I've written for so many bad magazines. I've written Hair Tips. Right, and if you look at what's going on here, I've written Hair Tips.
Oh, bro, let me take some of those suggestions.
I've written horoscopes when I know nothing. I've just
Rod Williams is the Huerta Mercado of the UK. All right,
exactly. But then I ended up writing for some cool magazines as well, like GQ in the UK. And
you did? Wow. How did you land that? How did it feel? Okay, so instead of asking you what was your first opportunity, what was the first big opportunity that you landed and you were like, oh man, no way. Thank you. Was it that GQ? Because that's pretty cool, man.
GQ one big one was GQ once flew me out to Jackson, Mississippi to the
nice.
Yeah, to the New Orleans Saints training camp to interview Reggie Bush.
No way, bro.
Yeah.
Were you an American football fan, though?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Okay, great.
So they fly us out, and then we get all the way to Jackson, and then the PR guy for the Saints tells us Reggie doesn't want to do the interview, and it's like, well, we've kind of come a long way, man. So then eventually we hung around for about I interviewed like people like Drew Brees and
oh shit, nice,
a bunch of other people.
How did that feel?
I was great. I mean, I've interviewed. I've been fortunate. I've interviewed quite a lot of. I've interviewed Ray Lewis. I've interviewed Larry Fitzgerald. Yeah, I've interviewed quite a few.
Let me get a broom, bro. Cause I gotta sweep up these names you dropping. Jesus.
I know exactly.
Whoa.
But Reggie Bush, after about 2 days, there was a happy end where just when he'll give you 5 minutes, and he came out.
2 days though.
Say again.
He said he made you wait 2 days for this though.
It was something like 2 days. We were hanging around with training camp anyway, and we were interviewing lots of other players and whatever.
So he caught your vibe, like, all right, these British cats is cool. All right.
So he came out in a golf buggy from and I interviewed him in his golf buggy. I do remember that. It was a classy deal.
No, excellent. That's kind of awesome, man. Is that something you anticipated kind of going in to happen, or you were just like, wow, look at this opportunity?
I think it was. I'd done a few things for GQ, and I was a friend with one of the editors there, and I think basically no other British journalist knew about American football, knew about the NFL, and they just went, oh, we've got this gig. Do you fancy it? And I was like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, hell yeah, let's go. Even if it's Mississippi, I'll go.
Yeah, and it was they sent me to the NFL draft in New York City one year as well.
No way, you witnessed the draft? Nice. Yeah. How was that experience like? Because I know we have a lot of football fans watching, and my boy Johnny Hughes is also based out of UK, the Machine. My brother, my right hand man, he's a big football fan. He's probably very jealous. I mean, you attended a draft. How was that experience?
I was also. I mean, like, I love the draft, and it's my little. It's every year I absolutely sort of get sort of hooked in and sort of try. It's one of my favorite times of the year. So to go, and I think I was in something like row 7 or something, Radio City Music Hall, and it was the year that Matthew Stafford was drafted or #1 overall.
Really? Wow, check you out.
Yeah, and so the day before, they took us all to a press thing in Central Park to interview all the top 10 picks that year.
Oh, wow.
And Matthew Stafford, I interviewed him, and I remember thinking he seems really, really happy. And then it broke about an hour later that he'd signed a $40 million contract.
No wonder he's so happy. God damn.
You would be quite happy, yeah.
Fantastic. So talk about this. So here we are. We're talking about you going into journalism. You're doing this sports stuff. You're doing GQ stuff. When did you do this turn to start getting back into some comics?
Well, I've just always been a comic fan and a reader, and I wrote one script. I was working at a time for a video production company, so I was writing scripts for visuals, but very boring corporate videos. But I thought, well, hang on, I'll try my hand at writing for comics. And so I wrote one script, and I went to a comic convention in the UK, in the Bristol Comic Convention at the time, and it was a new company called Comex who were just starting out. And I gave them the full script because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know that you pitch things, and I didn't know, I just like this big wedge of a script, just handed it over. And then a few months later, they rang out of the blue and basically said they'd read it and they loved it and they wanted to publish it. And that was a comic called Class War. So they paired me up with an artist called Trevor Hairsine, who's amazing.
Oh, you work with Trevor? Wow, yeah. I know Trevor's work. Amazing artist.
Yeah. So I was very fortunate. They kind of they paired me up with a really, really good artist from day one.
Oh, yeah.
And then Class War came out and that kind of opened a lot of doors. Suddenly, Marvel and DC in 2000 AD were kind of interested in me potentially writing for them.
Wow, the big boys, the UK big boys, and the two big boys in the States started coming up. And how did that feel? You coming off the deck like that, running out the gates, basically. Like, wow, I'm getting this love.
It's great, but it's exciting. But being honest, I didn't really know what I was doing at that point. I was kind of like, I'd written one script, and it was. I guess, it showed a lot of promise and had a fair amount of talent in it. But so much of writing is craft and learning your craft. And I didn't have any of that. So suddenly when I had these companies saying, look, we'd like you to pitch for us, I was kind of going, I don't even know how to write a pitch at this point.
You're like, damn, bro, I'm a rookie. Right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm a pro, but I'm a rookie.
I think it's like, well, it is a rookie's a good, because when rookies come into the NFL or whatever, they might be really talented, but they're lost half the time. They don't know where to go.
Yeah, I mean, they need some direction. When you have good direction, good leadership behind you, or at least good people, maybe that could or you just have a good gut. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I mean, in this business, a lot of things is luck and you making the right decision at the right time.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? Ain't that real, bro? I mean, that's what it is. So. And you have this amazing book. I have a little PowerPoint. I had to do it, bro. I had to do it because this joint is dope. So let me bring this bad boy up so we can start talking about it. So let's start talking about the journey, though. So here you got acclimated with Trevor and all. How did you start getting involved with Dark Horse and Mike himself, in the B.P.R.D universe?
Oh man, well that's like a fast forward of 20 years or 19 years, but it's
Whoa, wait a minute. You talking? That was a big fast forward. You talking about
exactly.
Well, yeah. So you started. So, but how? Okay, so before we even get there, then how was that journey though? You started from where you're starting and getting to where you're at now. What have been your greatest highlights? What have been your most favorite characters that you've worked on?
I did a bunch of work for Marvel for a few years, and I wrote Ghost Rider for Marvel, and I wrote Darken, which I still don't know. I wrote the character. I still don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Darken.
I say Dakin, you say Darken, tomato.
Let's call the whole thing up, right? Yeah, exactly. But I really liked. I like writing Dakin or Darken. That was a character that I had a kind of soft spot for. And then I've written for so many. I wrote for DC. I wrote Suicide Squad for about 3-4 years, maybe.
Yeah, how did you feel seeing them on screen too, man? After you were working on touching that bad boy,
I was like, well, the James Gunn film I just watched fairly recently, which was awesome, and it was just kind of like that was that felt like tonally a lot like what my my Suicide Squad comic was like, so I felt like,
Wonderful.
yeah, I mean, and I got to work with people like with Jim Lee and Johnny Romita Jr.,
Whew, shit.
so
Shit.
yeah.
Icons in the business, brother. Look at you. See,
Yeah.
that's why you're already a modern legend, Rob. Come on, man. Don't sell you so short, brother. You
I
are a modern
wouldn't
legend,
do that.
kiddo.
I wouldn't do that to you, Al.
You are a modern legend. I mean, over 20 years in the business. Look who you work with. Is there any character before we move on? To what you're doing now. Is there any character that from the big two that you would have liked to work on that you have not had the opportunity to work on yet?
Oh, man. I've written most of it. What haven't I written?
Is there anyone you want to touch?
I don't think I ever wrote Daredevil. I don't think I ever wrote Daredevil.
So you want to touch a Daredevil story? Would you dare go ahead and get devilish?
I do it. I might not. I just I always think you're on a hide into nothing, considering what Frank Miller did with the character. But you'd have to have a go, wouldn't you, if you got offered it?
Oh yeah, you gotta do it, man. I mean, but listen, Frank was Frank, but you are you, And listen, everybody's gonna have their iconic story. Frank had his run, and Marvel, you heard. We spoke it onto the world. Let's get some Rob on some Daredevil. The character's hot. We're gonna be seeing him on Disney, on the movies, everywhere. So let's get it popping, yo.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So let's talk about you then. Just acclimating now with Dark Horse. There's this amazing premier publisher. So how did you get hooked up with them and Mike and start working on this B.P.R.D stuff?
I just done a create your own book called Old Haunts for AWA. I'll see if I can find it. Hang on.
Bring it on. You bring it on, kiddo. I got you.
Maybe I can't find it.
Look at it. He got his shelf there. You got so much stuff.
I'm not prepared.
Yeah. I need shelves like that. I need many more shelves. It would drive my wife crazy, but I still want to do it.
There you go. That.
Oh, look at that. Gorgeous. Yeah, AWA is a fantastic independent publisher kicking ass right now, too.
Yeah. So we did. I did this really cool. It's sort of a crime horror book with.
Wow, bro! Look at that.
With Ollie Masters and
Ollie Masters, yeah, wonderful artist.
And Laurence Campbell, and so Laurence and I had just done this, and Laurence worked for B.P.R.D and for Mike Mignola for about 5 years doing drawing B.P.R.D.
Oh,
so
wow.
Laurence was talking to Dark Horse and Mike about maybe doing this new book, and they kind of talked to about me coming on as a writer, basically, and it was I've been reading Hellboy for years. I read B.P.R.D for years and loved it. So it was a little bit of a dream job, and I'm getting to work with Laurence because Laurence is one of my best friends, and we've worked together a number of times, and he's an amazing artist. So it was it's just a really fun job to have.
Excellent. So I'm gonna pull up the preview pictures I got. I had done a nice little PowerPoint, but apparently StreamYard didn't want to cooperate today. Don't you love it when technology works this way? But just talk the inspiration behind the character while I pull up these images.
Well, the whole idea of the book is in Hellboy and in B.P.R.D, this sword is almost like Excalibur. It's been in the books, and in Hellboy fans will know that this sword has played a major part in the battle against the Ogdru Hem monsters. I'm probably mispronouncing that as well. But we never really knew where this sword came from. We knew that sort of there was a character, B.P.R.D agent called Howard, who when he grabbed hold of it in a Chicago temple basement,
he
suddenly almost got possessed by the spirit of a barbarian warrior from thousands of years ago called Gall Dennar.
Gall Dennar. Oh, that's how you pronounce it. Thank God. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I hope I'm right. What the idea of this, of the series is basically, well, we know that the sword ends up in some weird temple in Chicago in the late end of the 20th century, and we know it was back in post-Hyperborean times, thousands of years ago. But who held this sword and the various other points? How did it get to Chicago? So our story is kind of the journey of the sword and the different people who held it along the way and sort of passed it on. So issue 1, you're going to you're going to see, if you're a B.P.R.D. Hellboy fan, you're going to see Gall Dennar, and you're going to see Howards, who we've met before, and you're going to see this sort of the quest of Gall Dennar, this barbarian character, trying to find the mythic warriors who gave us power to this sword.
That's what he's doing. Yeah, because I was again reading it. I'm checking it out. I'm like, okay, good. This homie got a story behind him, a crazy story.
Yeah, and then in issue 2, you're going to meet a brand new character further on in the future called Graf Ling de Gotha, who's kind of without giving too much away, she's a German sort of spy, effectively, in World War One. And then you're going to see in issue 3, you're going to meet a character called Victor Olsen, who's the greatest deep sea diver in the world in World War II. And then in issue 4, you're going to see a black blues singer from the Deep South who's come up to Chicago for the electric blues scene in the 50s and kind of Muddy Waters and all that kind of scene.
I love it. Love it. Are you a Muddy Waters fan, bro?
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested in all the kind of, that blue scene of the time. Yeah. So to me, it was just, that's kind of like where rock and roll came from. So it was an interesting, I thought that was an interesting sort of American myth to tap into sort of the whole Hellboy sort of world, basically.
Love it. Yeah, I'm trying to pull up the pictures, folks. It's just, don't you love technology? Okay, hold on. Yeah, wonderful. I'm almost there, folks.
if I had the issue here, I could just hold it up instead. But
no, it's all right. I got it. Because again, there's the wondrous technology when stuff doesn't want to cooperate with you, brother. It just doesn't want to cooperate with you. But it's okay. We always have alternatives in anything that we do. And once I find our screen, thank God I did. Here we are. So let me do this and close that. Sure. Maybe we can show off this first screen. I'm going to share my screen so we can check out this beautiful cover, bro. Check this out, man. Look how dope that is.
Yeah.
Isn't that fire?
So that's Laurence Campbell on art, and that's the cover is colored by Dave Stewart, who colors all Mignola's work on Hellboy.
Yeah, Dave Stewart, Mignola. I mean, that's it. That's like the ultimate comic book bromance. These brothers have been working forever together, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and Dave's colored. I think I'm right in saying Dave's colored Mike all the way through Hellboy. So he's as much part of it all as Mike is in a lot of ways.
Go ahead, guys. You could take that. The ultimate bromance of comics. Let me tell you, that's some truth right there. All right, I'm sorry. I gotta bring up these pictures because there's so many. All right, so go over here. Don't you love it, brother? So then we have this bad boy, right? Look at that.
Yeah, that's the page 1. So that's Howard's the B.P.R.D. agent, and this is all. Now we're in the interiors. Is colored by Quentin Winter.
Quentin, okay. Wow. And where did he come from? How did you guys connect with him? Do you know the story behind that?
I did a book, a Vertigo, a couple of years ago called Unfollow, and Quentin was a colorist on that, but he knows Laurence and lives quite close to Laurence. But yeah, he did a beautiful job. I mean, on page 1 here, this is like Howard's. If you've read B.P.R.D. spoilers, like Howard's this character dies at the end of B.P.R.D. So I think the coloring here is deliberately like he looks a little bit like a dead man walking.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and it's wonderful use, but in the standard how the weapon looks out as well. Yeah, you see something foreboding is here. Yeah, and just look at this coloring and shading. You kind of keep it even there. Like she's talking to a dead man walking. I love it.
Yeah, pretty much.
That is gorgeous, bro. And talk about the story and the creation with you and Mike, man. I mean, how did y'all put your minds together and got collaborative? Because again, with COVID happened and all that, how will you guys be able to work together and put together this, masterpiece again in the B.P.R.D. universe?
Oh, cheers, man. Well, it's I mean, Mike basically had an overall kind of plot structure for issue 1 in mind when we came on board. He said, well, the way Mike tends to work is you'll have a Zoom call with him, and he'll kind of go, I kind of had this idea. Like he sounds like he's thrown it off the top of his head, and then he tells you it, and you go, well, that's completely fantastic, and that's just a great a great story right there, and it's all there. And he goes, "Oh, you can do something with that if you want." You go, "Okay." So really, my job is on issue 1 specifically was really just to break down the plot that Mike had sort of given us, really, and sort of and then sort of, I think in terms of the overall world, it's like Mike knows this stuff.
Oh,
It's
yes,
his,
he does.
it's his world. So okay, we had a couple of Zoom calls where we talk, a bunch of us, and you have the Dark Horse editorial team and Laurence as well, where we would talk it all through. And Mike will sort of will lean you certain ways. Sometimes he'll kind of go, I don't think you want to do that, but you might want to do this instead. And you go, okay, because
he helps steer the ship a little bit.
Oh yeah, it's he's the captain of all this stuff, absolutely. And then but then one of the cool things about it was then he kind of gets out your way. You know what I mean? He just like
Wonderful.
All of that was very early, right at the start when we were sort of planning it all. And then from the moment we, Laurence and I start working on it. I mean, the cool thing about this book as well is that it's not very often with most comics, you write a script and then you hand the script off to the artist and the artist draws in. Very often you don't have a conversation. A lot of the times you never talk. I mean, Laurence and I were talking all the way through this book. There's lots of ideas here of mine, lots of Laurence's ideas, and it's a real, because we just come off doing a create your own book together, Old Gaunt, where you're far more kind of immersed together. It's much more of a team thing with create your own. And we really took the same kind of principle into the Sword of Hyperborea. Really, it's like a massively collaborative effort, and to the point where issue 3, I had a character all laid out, and Laurence said, "Oh, I had this idea for this other character," and I just thought his character was cooler than mine. So it's like, right, we'll dump my character, and we'll
dump your character for future use.
Yeah. Oh, he's not dumped. That is true. Actually, that character might be coming back somewhere else.
Hey,
yeah, you never check them completely if you think they're any good. But no, it's so it's I like the idea of, like, I know at the start of, I remember sort of old X-Men books where it used to just be by Chris Claremont and John Byrne, by Chris Claremont and Paul Smith. It didn't say writer and artist,
Yeah.
And I kind of like that kind of idea with this as well. I think it's very much a book by Laurence and I.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing, man. I'm digging it, bro. I mean, and again, you guys have kicked ass in it. Artistry, the action, the blood. Look at this. Go right up my alley, man. You guys are going after my heart right here, man. This is what comic books is to me. All this great fun stuff, and and this is available now at comic shops.
Yep, that's right. It's out now. It came out last week, and it's a 4-issue miniseries. And then there might be more on the way. We'll see.
Excellent, man. Which might. I mean, is it going to be based on this, or you already have another plan outline? Then it's
I can't say at this point. But I mean, basically, one of the things we wanted to do with this series, especially with the 3 brand new characters, is maybe sort of give them a little bit of a life of their own. So
wonderful.
I don't want to. We'll see. We're talking anyway.
Hey, I'm fishing here, folks, but they may not fish too hard because we're about positivity and love, and let him tease the crap out of us like we're in a comic book strip club.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's showing us shadows without the full figures. Oh, let me see. That would be a comic book strip club, right? You show covers with shadows.
I mean, that's what you want to call it.
Writers with little script with blurry lines.
Yeah. And I've got one other thing I should talk about. I've got another.
Please show me. Please, let's talk about it.
Again, through AWA, which is in shops right now, is out.
Out. What is this? Talk about it, homie.
This is it's a create your own miniseries from AWA by myself and Will Conrad and Marco Lesko as the colorist.
Wow. Yeah, I love how they do their covers, man. So shiny and beautiful, bro.
Yeah, and then you've got beautiful interior art. Where am I
going? Oh my God, look at that, yo. Fuego, son. Fuego.
And we have, so basically the whole idea of this book is it's World War II and it's the Great Escape, but there's a vampire in the camp with the prisoners. And so,
I love it. What is your love with horror, man? Is that your thing, man?
it is one of my things. I mean, I enjoy writing it because basically it's like, especially a book like Out is kind of built out of loving films like, you know, John Carpenter's The Thing and Alien, and you know, and it's basically putting a bunch of characters in a horrible situation and picking them off one by one. So if
you love it? Do you love that part where you just like, I find the most devious ways to get them picked off? Is that something you look forward to?
Yeah, well, I mean, what you want to do is you write characters, and you're very cruel as a writer, because you create characters who hopefully people will like, and just when you go, I really like this character, then you kill them off. So it's great.
Hey, let me hurt you guys.
And then you can do it in create your own, because in a way that you can't do with if you're writing for Marvel or DC, because, you know, let's face facts, if you're going to kill off a Marvel or DC character, they're going to be back in about 6 months' time. But
yeah, absolutely, 6 months, a year. I think Wolverine was probably dead for 2-3 years, right, before they brought him back official. I think the longest dead character in comics is probably the Flash, right? Because he lasted about Barry Allen Flash, that is, about 30 years dead.
Yeah.
You know, so I think he was the longest lasting death in comics.
Well, have they ever brought back Captain Marvel? You know, the original Captain Marvel, the male one, when I was a kid.
Well, and here we go, man. Yeah, they got some new comic out with Silver Surfer Rebirth, and we see that Captain Marvel is somehow involved, talking about the Captain Marvel that we know.
Yeah, as a kid, when I was a kid. I mean, he died, and I thought, like, well, they
of cancer. Yeah, so they talk. Yeah, I see him in the cover. It comes out this week as well. Silver Surfer Rebirth, and they're bringing back the original team of Ron Mars and Ron Lim.
Oh, okay, right, okay, so,
cool. Marvel seems to be doing this right now, where they're bringing back some legendary teams to touch some books. Even with the Ben Reilly Spider-Man, they're bringing back the OG team to do a 5-issue mini on that.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. Yeah. I saw one of my comic shops I follow, Big Bang Comics in Ireland. They posted yesterday, there's like this Roger Stern Amazing Spider-Man omnibus coming out, and I was getting real kind of nostalgic. Kind of, I used to love that when I was a kid.
Yeah, like looking at your wallet and like, ooh, will she find out if I buy this?
Yeah, I kind of was actually. Yeah.
Hey, bro, you and me both, brother. I see stuff like that. You know, I can't wait till they do what I'm really waiting for. I want them to do a whole Mark Gruenwald omnibus of Captain America.
Yeah.
When they do that shit, oh my God, I don't care, bro. I'm going for it. What is it? Okay, that was a bad one. How dare you? You're done, people. No one's spreading your cheeks. Get out of here.
I was going to say, that's your other podcast.
You know, they had a whole different interpretation of what the sword of Hyperborea, man. How dare these people? They have been blocked. Get out of my show. How dare you, dirty people, you. Anyway, that's so funny. So is there any other things we can anticipate outside of the Dark Horse and AWA? Because again, I see you heavy doing AWA. You're again, shout out, great independent publisher, Dark Horse, you know, doing their thing. I mean, what else? Are you working with any other publishers that you can speak of right now? Any other awesome projects?
I'm doing more Judge Dredd for 2000 AD. I always kind of dip in and out of Judge Dredd, and been doing that for a few years.
Where are we doing this Judge Dredd on? The main magazine, the magazine, the reneg? What is it?
No, it's in. It'll be in the regular
the main
2000 AD.
Wonderful.
So I've got a 6-part Dredd coming up with Patrick Goddard drawing it, called Special Relationship, which is all about. I don't know if you know your Dredd world, but it's Brit-Cit is the British, is Britain, and Mega City 1 is America. And they might be going to war a little bit, just a little bit.
Oh, just a little bit? Hey, you guys just want to fight America so bad. I see it. No, only playing. Let me shut you guys up. The madness.
No, we wouldn't do that. We wouldn't do that.
I know.
But no, you're right. I mean, Dread.
Only playing. No, I love that Dread. I mean, it's so dark, man. It's so fun. It's so futuristic, bro. You know, I dig Dread. I love the movies. I've always been a fan of the characters, and as I've been perusing a lot of the digital copies that, thank you 2000 AD for allowing us to have access to check those books out. Yeah. I mean, I'm like, wow. Why hasn't this been a bigger part of my life growing up?
No, there's some great stuff.
2000 AD is a fantastic magazine with some wow concepts, and I mean, they always got new stuff. So I mean, within itself, it has its own collectability. You got first appearances galore all over the place and fantastic stories by amazing creators, even like yourself, that get involved. Do you have any original creations within the 2000 AD universe?
Yeah, I got a bunch. What have I done?
What's your biggest boy? Girl.
I did one called the 10 Seconders, which was kind of like, I think the boys has stolen its thunder a bit, but it was basically, there was a bunch of all the super gods were in America, and this little British group were the resistance. These gods had gone mad and taken over the world, so it was kind of like fighting ordinary people fighting superheroes, like a little death squad superheroes. So that was kind of fun. And I did an apocalyptic western I really like called The Grievous. It's got a very long title, The Grievous Journey of Ichabod Azrael and the Dead Left in His Wake.
God damn, bro. Why so long? Holy smokes.
Because you get told that all comic titles have to be really snappy and short. And I got really sick of it. And I went, I'm going to do a really long one, right? Just as long as I can do it. Right. And it was that was a story of like the greatest killer of the Old West, and he dies and he goes to the afterlife. And then in the afterlife, he goes, "No, I'm not having this." And he tries to kill his way out of the afterlife to come back to reality.
Love it. And this is on 2000 AD?
Yeah. There's a collection of this.
There is a collected edition of this. I would love that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there was a few years ago. Yeah,
dude, you have sold me entirely. Oh, good crap! I love it. Thank you. You're a boss, kiddo. So let's talk about it, right? So right now, those are the best places to just see what you're up to is on social.
Yeah, those are me on Twitter talking nonsense most of the time, and then on Instagram I tend to post really nice art by people who can actually draw, as opposed to me, where I just write.
Have you ever attempted to draw, Rob?
I'm largely useless, Al. I'm terrible.
Can you color?
I'm not going to actually make a living as a dual threat, I'm afraid.
Yes, the one-man band. Just all right. Let me do right. One-man army. All right.
I need to lean on very good artists to do the hard lifting for me.
Okay, I want to leave you. These are my last two things here, and I want to ask you this one. So, if you, as a writer, if there's any artist you could work with, alive or dead, ever, who will you choose?
Man, it would be Kirby. It would have to be Kirby.
Kirby? What would your idea be like with Kirby?
I have no idea, because anything I come up with,
anything I want to do,
he would take it far, far madder than anything I could do. You know what I mean?
Okay, awesome.
No, it's just like, I mean, I've got like, what have I got there? I got an artist's edition right there of the Fantastic Four Kirby with the Negative Zone and Annihilus and all that. You know, I love that stuff. It's just crazy.
Great. Oh, I love that. And so, all right, and as a creator that's been in the business for a minute, and look, you continue to rock it, working with legends and, working with Matt Labor, and you got even more coming. God bless you. Thank you, bro, for sharing, giving me your flowers. Thank you for being creative and sharing of your journey, my brother. It's amazing, bro. I'm digging the crap out this book. I've read other things you've done as well, to be honest. So, thank you. Thank you for entertaining me.
Cheers, huh? I appreciate it.
You're the man, bro. And is there any advice you would give any other up-and-coming creators, if you will, based on your journey?
Yeah, I mean, well, one thing is like it's persistence and hard work, right? You are gonna get, if you're a new creator or someone who wants to be a creator, you are gonna get so many doors shut in your face along the way. You just gotta keep going. Basically, if you believe in it, you gotta keep, and it's what you want to do. You gotta keep trying. But also, I'd say, like, concentrate on the craft. There's a line I remember an anecdote from like hearing about Steve Martin. People would ask Steve Martin, how you get into show business, and he would say, get yourself so good that they can't not hire you, And I think what that means is you got to concentrate on your own craft and keep improving your stuff. And then basically it's not about who you know or what links you can have to, and it's not about talking the talk and all that. At the end of the day, if you're, as an artist or a writer, if you're bring your work to people and put it in front of people and they take one look at it and kind of go, this is really good, they're going to hire you. And that's the bottom line. So put a lot of work into the sort of, the nuts and bolts, and make sure that you've got your stuff sort of locked down, basically.
Oh man, is that not the truth? Yeah, you work hard, at your craft because you will be noticed. Again, you put your work out there, it eventually will be fine. I mean, good Rob, he's kicking ass with legends. I mean, and a long career, amazing, yo. And I can't wait to see your take on Daredevil because Marvel's gonna hear this.
It's coming. It's definitely coming.
Yeah, I can't wait, and especially when they adapt that as well. Especially like again, they already ripped you up for the boys. What else they gonna take from you?
I didn't say that.
No, I know you didn't, but I'll say it.
The boys, beat us to it in terms of getting the TV. I think
in the TV, sure, but they beat you to it in written form.
Well, there you go. What are you gonna do?
That's the question. Yeah, but it's all right. But things happen. That's life. But that just means that your ideas are that good that eventually we will see your product on that platform one day if that's something you choose to do. Now, if you chose to do that, right, and have anything that you created come onto a different multimedia platform, whether it be animation, a film, TV show, what would you choose it to be?
Well, I did that book. I mentioned a book I did for Vertigo a few years ago called Unfollow, and that's been optioned for TV a few times now by DC. So we still got fingers crossed on that. But I would love to see that on TV because I think it would be I think that would be a pretty awesome TV show. I could see it. So fingers crossed.
So excellent. So when you say TV, would you prefer this on something that's mainstream TV, a CW, or something in the line of HBO Max, or even on Netflix?
Yeah, HBO, I think something like that. Because I mean, if you go back and read it, should go out and buy and follow. It's basically the whole idea of that was a social media thriller, and the guy who invented sort of the equivalent of Twitter, he's got cancer and he's dying. And so he says that 140 people out there are going to get an app on their phone, and if you get this app, just pops up on your phone. That means when he dies, you're going to get 140th of his billions, right? So you're rich, right? So, but the twist on it is that basically what he tells them all, these 140 people, is if one of them dies, 139 of them share the money, and if 139 of them die, one person gets all his money, basically. And from that point on, it's kind of like a social media battle royale where these people are just like. And with the app on your phone, every time one of the 140 dies, the app comes down, but you can see the number coming down.
Holy crap! Talk about greed at its finest, bro. I love that you dig that into that's really a dark side of humanity. It's like, damn, can't everybody eat? And unfortunately, not everybody thinks that way. And what you just explained to me is just a perfect analogy of that. Like, not everybody wants you to eat.
It's social media, right? Social media was supposed to make everything better, and instead it's making everything worse. So there you go.
But is it social media or is it the people in social media that just don't know how to use it? Because again, being that they're so anonymous, oh, let me be a thug now. So is that the platform's fault or the person's fault? Again, it goes back to even with the gun stuff, right? The gun doesn't shoot itself.
This is one of the things, and one of the
that's life. Arguments.
It's just that it doesn't matter. Technology changes, but human beings are just human beings. But the bottom line, and we've always been, even when we were back in the jungle or whatever we were still being dicks to each other, and whatever. So it's just it's human nature sometimes,
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Human nature is kind of fucked up sometimes. It's just what it is. It's just the truth of it. I hate to say it that way, but hopefully, we could one day just learn from these sci-fi movies. Like, there's one thought. Let's just all be better, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
please. But it's all right though. While we wait for that day to happen, we have amazing creators like Rob Williams, like doing awesome books that'll just take your mind out from today to A Day of Tomorrow in the future, some wild stories, bugged out stuff, no matter what platform it is. Rob is just an amazing writer that definitely knows how to use escapism to the best of its power. So thank you for that. Because again, that's something that means a lot to me. Because when I pick up a comic book, I really don't want to read news. I want to just, where am I? And as I was reading this, I was like, where the hell am I? I love it. You know what I mean?
You're a couple of thousand years in the past. That's where you were.
Thank you.
That's one of the cool things about it is like Mike's created this world with just like it's like so rich and there's so many different stories you can tell.
And here you are. It's not just Mike, but here you are, putting your piece of your soul into this wonderful universe. And I'm digging it. And people, go to your comic shop today. You got to pick up this issue 1 out now. All right. And you said, how many issues is this story?
4.
So 4 issues. This is nothing, and you actually get more bang for your buck here. This is real great storytelling, beautiful art by a fantastic team. You got the, Mike Mignola, the legend. You got the right now legend right here, Rob W. You got beautiful artwork. I mean, you can't go wrong in his Dark Horse Comics, yo. Come on now.
Yeah.
Right. So anything else you could tell us today, brother, before we go? Anything else you want to tell the people of the world?
I think I'm out, but I would just say, thanks for buying my stuff, and hope you enjoy what we got out there. Oh, and buy it out. I will say, out issue 4 is in shops this Wednesday. So
that's coming out this Wednesday. Hey, AWA.
And then we have the trade paperback of Out is next month, I believe. No, March maybe.
Folks, you already there. So AWA Studios, please tell your comic shop you want out. Not saying that you want out of the comic shop. You want the comic book out.
There you go.
Yeah, from AWA by the big homie right here with his fantastic team. You already saw it. He already teased you with that art. How could you say no to that?
That was exactly.
You know what I mean? How could you say no to that? I mean, if you're a comic book fan, you cannot say no to that. So with that, God bless, brother. Thank you again for joining me. This is Omega. The other tells you what to do, with the exception of check out our t-shirts on Teespring. We're also YouTube partners now. So if you go on YouTube right now, you can actually buy our t-shirts. All right. And thank you for people that are tuning in on LinkedIn, because we're also on LinkedIn now. So a big rep out of you. Thank you, everybody. Much love. And to my fans in Colombia, India, Belgium, China, thank you for y'all tuning in and really ranking us and y'all countries. We appreciate it. We love you. Thank you. Bye. Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit ComicCrusaders.com and our extended podcast family over at UndercoverCapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.